Hi. So, I love you all. Bet you've never heard that.
Never.
Never. I say it all the time, right? Because I do. I love you guys. I love you so much. Okay, so this month we're talking about being rooted in the divine. And today my talk is called Your Impersonal Self. Oh, your impersonal self. What the heck is that anyway? Well, we're going to talk about it right now. So if you're confused about what your impersonal self is, I hope that by the end of this you will not be. Right? So, these notes for today are by Reverend Lola Wright. She is the spiritual director of the Bodhi Spiritual Center in Chicago. And the Bodhi Center is an awesome place. And Lola Wright, I found her about a year ago, I think. And she is awesome. And she does, on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. on Facebook Live, she does a spiritual practice with people and has it like it's interactive and she discusses things. And so if you ever have the opportunity to check her out, Lola Wright, Reverend Lola Wright. So
WR?
WR, yeah. Okay, so in her notes are awesome. She said, every human being is a glorious intersection of the infinite and the finite. When we align ourselves with the truth of life versus the facts of life, we consciously avail ourselves to universal laws that allow greater ease, peace, love, and freedom to be made manifest. Transformation becomes possible. So, does everyone get that? When I first read that, I was like tingly. I was like, yes, tingly with introspection. So, there's the infinite and there's the finite. There's thought and there's form. Right? This is where we're going with this. She also says, when we resist the nature of life, we consciously create an experience of suffering. This is demonstration at the level of the individual, or the microcosm, and the level of the collective, which is the macrocosm. Understanding the impersonal nature of the universe demands the responsibility we have to ourselves and to humanity. That which occurs in conscious practice and in deliberate service. So we were talking in class about, that we are responsible for ourselves alone, right? There is nothing outside of us that we could possibly be responsible for. We are responsible for what's inside of us. How we react, how we respond to any situation is up to us. Because we were born free. When we are born, there are no shackles, there are no chains. We have demonstrations of freedom right here in this beautiful little baby manifestations, right? They are spirit in form. They do not know what no means yet, right? That is a beautiful thing. When we have an imagery of youthfulness that can teach us freedom and choice. They are teaching us how to respond in any circumstance as a parent, right? As a parent, they are little buckets of freedom, and oh my goodness, it's our responsibility not to change them, to change our thinking about what's going on, right? So they are perfect little manifestations of demonstration in our lives. And that's like, kids are just keep showing up so that we can learn and grow and evolve our own stuff, so that we can recognize where we need, right? You should, like, a trained meditator could have screaming monkeys around them for 6 hours, and a trained mind wouldn't hear them, right? Because everything around us is absolutely perfect. Everything around us is absolutely perfect. And it is our conscious choice to create the experience that we're having. In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes says, the law has done all it can to automatically do for man. It has evolved him to a point of individuality and must now let him alone to discover the secrets of life for himself. The law has done all it can automatically do for us. The moment we recognize that we have the freedom to choose to be in our choice is that moment where Spirit is ever flowing. Once we recognize that we have choice, that is the freest moment we could ever have. And living and staying in that freedom is what it is that we need to do. We have to discover the secrets of life each and every day and unfold them. So that impersonal self is, in my understanding, because I only have one perception, mine. So the impersonal self is the capital S, right? So there's the little s, which is my little mind that has the Steph ego, that attaches itself, the Steph ego to everything, and every judgment and everything I do has some sort of Steph in it, right? Just like you all have little Dustins and Kathys and Dawns and Sarahs and Jess's inside, making the totality of all of our experience come to this moment in this place. And the capital S self is that spirit that is inside of us, knowing that there is that impersonal law of mind that is ever creating and evolving us to be the highest and best expression of who we are, is impersonal. There is a power that is greater than we are, and we can use it. That's the impersonal self. The impersonal self is that law is working no matter what, no matter for who, no matter when, right? Like Dustin, your analogy today in class about electricity. Electricity is working for everywhere, all the time. There is nothing in between electricity. It's here, it is present. And we are the light bulbs, right? We are the light bulb. So if you unscrew a light bulb, it's not on. But if you screw it back in, it's on because it's receiving that. So we're little light bulbs. So the impersonal self is the electricity that is in everything, and we get to plug in. We get to turn on our own little light bulbs.
What if it's burnt out?
You're never burnt out.
Never burnt out.
You are an infinite light.
You are a conduit.
Yeah, you are a conduit.
The
Yeah.
body.
Yeah, it's one of those infinite light bulbs. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it just
The light bulb's the body dies, but the electricity's still there.
exactly.
Just put
Yeah,
in a new
you're
light bulb.
always electrified.
Put a
Yeah.
new light bulb in.
So, in the Science of Mind, page 408, our consciousness of God, or if you don't like that word, spirit, love, energy, whatever it is you want consciousness to be, our consciousness of God is both personal and impersonal. It is personal in that it is personified through us, and it is impersonal in that we are all using a universal power. When we know that we are using such a power, all doubt as to our ability to use it will vanish, and our words will be spoken with spontaneous reliance on truth. The power that is in the universe, that is greater than I am, is impersonal. It is working all the time for each and every one of us. It is our selves, our little body forms of spirit that are using it and can use it consciously or unconsciously, but it is always being used. Does that make sense? Do we know what an impersonal self is yet? Okay. So, in working with the law, Raymond Hollywell, he says, the scientist tells us that the mind is the creative cause of all that transpires in the life of man, that the personal conditions are the results of man's action, that all the actions of man are the direct outcomes of his ideas, that we never make a move of any kind until we first form some image or plan in the mind. Right? Anything that is now form was once first a thought. Any experience that we have was first a thought. Does that make sense? So when people are all using the same intelligence, the same universal mind, the ones who are creating like machinery and creating ways and techniques to clean oceans in such a powerful way. They have been called in their minds first to do something great. And we are all called to do that, to do something great in our lives. And that could be raising children. And that could be carving marble. Whatever it is that is calling from you is being embodied and infused in power by this universal thought, this infinite intelligence where everything is. We were talking in class again that we have thoughts and then about really great ideas, and then a year later they show up and someone else has done it and someone else is making the millions from it. Right? So they have the same access. I have written Oscar award-winning movies. And the reason I know they're Oscar award-winning movies is because I had these ideas, and then a year or two later, they win an Oscar. I didn't direct it, I didn't produce it, I didn't star in it. But I had a thought about it, I had the storyline down, I even saw the characters. Like, you want to know one of them? Avatar. Avatar came out 3 years after I thought it. And man, would that have been really awesome on the wallet. If I had been determined and called to put that to paper and to get that out there. But there were people who were determined and called to put that in the world. And we all have something to put out into the world. Mine just looks a little bit different than Avatar. You know, there's more than that, just that one. And maybe I will. Maybe someday I will have an Oscar award-winning film that I have not started. But I'm sure going to write it and put it out there. I'm going to write it and, written by, that will be up on a screen somewhere. Because it's in me. I got something in there. And we all have that something. Now, what I really want to stress today is that when I say there's a power in the universe greater than I am, that power is right here within me. It's inside, right? There is nothing outside of me. That's my belief. So where spirit lives, where spirit dwells, when I pray, I'm talking to that divine presence that is inside of me, that knows the truth, that is connected to an infinite mind. Connected and intertwined, interwoven, embodied by the wholeness of all of that power. So in that, I am simply a reflection of that which is in you. You are powerful. I know that you are powerful. I know that you are demonstrating things in your life using this power, using this mental science. And so it is, how do we show up in that power? How do we show up in the greatness of who we are? How do we stand in that impersonal self and know that whatever it is that I'm feeling right now or expressing that doesn't feel so powerful, knowing and recognizing that too is the power. Knowing the stuff that I'm stepping into and stepping through is engaging me in such a way to reveal the power that is within me. There is a perfection in absolutely everything that we do. And that impersonal self is to recognize that even though we label things good or bad, right? We have a consciousness of duality. There's good, there's bad, there's nice, there's mean. And so these are all things that we judge upon ourselves inside of us. Because there's nothing outside of us that if I can't see mean, if I don't know what mean looks like. Right? I have been mean. in my life. I have. And so it's easy for me to recognize it in other people and go, oh my God, that person is so mean. Because I've stepped through it, and I'm probably not as mean as I once was. I trust I'm not as mean as I once was. You know, I used to have anger management problems. So I know that there's angry people outside of me because I have struggled inside of me. So I know what anger looks like. I know what fear looks like because I have lived a fearful life. And recognizing that power that is in me and knowing that it's not good or bad, that I'm okay just as I am. You are okay. You are okay to feel everything that you're feeling. You are okay to experience everything that you are experiencing. Because this universe that lives inside of you and is all around you supporting you is for the highest and best expression of who you are. And if it wasn't, it wouldn't be happening. It comes up to see us into our experience so that we can move through it. So that we can be guided and led in ways of what it is we do want. What do we want to experience? What do we want to know for ourselves? What is the power I'm going to choose to use today? Am I going to choose this power that is for everyone? Am I going to choose it to be loving and kind and change the world? Or am I going to choose to use this power that I've been given, that I can use, to be a whiny poopy pants? Because I have used it. I have used the power of whiny poopy pants. I have. And it got me what I needed to get, you know? But how do you want that power, that vibrancy to show up in your life? That's what we need to step into, right? So she says, Lola Wright has, the law is impersonal. The way we end our prayer practice is a conscious reminder of that impersonal power. Right? How do we end our treatments?
And so it is.
And so it is. That's a powerful statement, right? And so it is. And that statement can be used in absolutely every moment, right? That statement is just letting it be. That statement is trusting that what you just said is already so. She writes that do not misunderstand this teaching as a pull yourself up by your bootstraps philosophy. I love that, right? Because that, like to quote Dawn, suck it up, princess. You know, that might be a statement of truth for some people, but for me, suck it up, princess is meaning that you just, you know, you're pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, but you're kind of bypassing what it is you're trying to suck up, in a sense, right? That you can pull yourself up and get up and go, but are you doing the work that needs to get done so that tomorrow's pulling up the bootstraps is easier for you? Right? Like, are we using this spiritual practice to get better? Right? Like, and I've been in this teaching now for 10 years, and man, it's been the last year I've got it. Right? This is a spiritual practice. And practice means every day. Musicians, oh man, I wish I could just pick up the guitar and start wailing like Stevie Ray Vaughan. But I don't put the work in like he did to get to where he is. Or, you know, or Rachel from Skid Row just wailing on it. You know, and there are 4-year-olds now who can do a drum solo better than Slash, or, you know, or I'm getting my musicians mixed up. But there are 4-year-olds who just get it. That's tapping in to something that is greater than they are, because they just know it. They haven't heard no. They haven't heard society say, are you sure you can do that, right? You know, like maybe you should set your sights a little lower. Never, never, never set your sights lower to who it is you want to be. If there's something inside of you that is wanting healing, let's heal it. Let's work on it. Let's change our consciousness as a community of people and allow each other to grow in and share this practice with each other. So she's got some calls to actions. I love these notes. Lola Wright, man. So just take a second in your own mind. Identify right now your practice partners. Who in your life reminds you of how special you are? Who in your life reminds you that you deserve more? That you're fantastic, that you're wonderful? Who are those people in your life who show up within that greater truth of who you are? Right? So, are there people in your life that are your prayer partners? Do you have a mastermind group? Are you involved in sacred service in the community? All of these things are using the power of the mind so that we can disregard and dissolve race consciousness. Right? Let's circle up. Circle up to be in a circle of interlinked arms of like-minded people who all want the highest and best for you. And when those people who come, because if you're in a circle arm to arm, no one can break through that. If you're tight with the people in your life that share your expression of goodness, that share this capacity to know that you are awesome, even when we don't remember we're awesome. That's when we need that circle. And when you are arm to arm and linked in, red rover, right? You can't break through if you are tight in your circle of people who build you up, who create a foundation around you to help you shine your own light. So also take a moment to remember the first person who introduced you to a teaching like this. Right? The power that's inside of you. Who was that first person? When was the first person, like some people walked into a center elsewhere, right? Who was the first person who told you there is a power inside of you that is brilliant and wonderful and that you are that? Right? And are you grateful to know, are you grateful to them? Have you experienced a sharing of that with them?